Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another episode. I am Dr. Shauna Scott of Shauna Scott PR and Events, your $1 million event strategist, with another episode of Event TV. Yay! Excited, excited. Guess you all who I have here today. I want to hear you guess. Guess. Kidding. I know I can't hear you. And plus, you can read all of the promotions here. I'm going to go ahead and bring her up because I don't want to make y'all wait. Y'all got to hear today's story. You've got to meet today's guest. And I'm going to bring her on. And here we have Miss Makeda Smith. Hey, Makeda, how are you?
Hi, Shauna. I'm good. How are you?
I am absolutely amazing and I'm ecstatic that you are here today. Oh my gosh. We're friends on social media. I have been following you and you do such powerful work in this world. So I'm so glad about sharing you with Event TV and all of our audiences.
Yes. I'm glad to be here. I'm looking forward to our interview.
Yes, absolutely. So, first and foremost, Makeda, tell us who you are and the name of your business and where are you in the world?
So, I am Makeda Smith. I am the CEO and founder of Savvy Chicks in Real Estate. And where I am in the world today, I am in Chicago, Illinois, where I was born and raised right here on the west side of Chicago. We kind of cheated. We're out in the suburbs now for the last 20 years, but born and raised in Chicago. And so my business, even though it's founded in Illinois, we are a global real estate network where we help real estate agents to sell and invest all over the world. And we help investors to do the same.
Awesome. That's a big deal here in the world, with all of your investment in real estate. And so Savvy Chicks, we see that everywhere. So tell me, how did you come up with the genesis of Savvy Chicks? Where did that come from?
So that was actually birthed because I've been a real estate agent for the last 20 years. And when I got started in 2004, I didn't have anyone to take me under their wings that looked like me. And when I say look like me, that was a Black female or female period to show me the ropes inside of real estate. When I got started in 2004 and I walked into my first office, which was a Century 21, I was not welcomed by the women in the office. I was put in a corner by the women in the office, and it was my broker who was an elder man that took me under his wings and taught me the ropes, took me on his listed appointments. And so I birthed Savvy Chicks in Real Estate in 2017 because I didn't want for real estate agents, particularly women in real estate, to have to depend on people that did not want to help them, people that did not look like them, or look like them, that wasn't in a community over competition mindset, and created Savvy Chicks in Real Estate with that thought in mind. And I wanted to let ladies know that it was okay for us to be friends on Facebook, where you had social media gurus saying if a realtor sends you a friend request, don't accept it because you don't want to be friends with them, because that's not your ideal client. But that is your network. That is your referral partner, that it could be your person that you collaborate with on an event, and you split the leads that come in. But we were not taught that way, and so we had to build up to that. And so that's when Savvy Chicks in Real Estate stepped on the scenes in 2017. Because the flip side of that, Shauna, is that I didn't want realtors to also have to depend on just real estate transactions, because those can come and go, or they can fall apart even when they do come. And so I wanted to teach them to have multiple streams of income when it came to digital products and other services that they can incorporate in their existing real estate business.
Love it. That's such a powerful mission. So just to take it back a little bit, you got a job in real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you walked into the office and nobody wanted to talk to you or wanted to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Why do you think that? You said what?
Who's this new girl?
Who is this new girl? Why do you think that was? Let's just kind of talk about why do you think that was, and how did that make you feel?
I think that it was just that generation. I think it was the culture that was in the office. It was the culture in our real estate industry, to where we are taught to beat each other's competition rather than collaborating. So that is not the case today, even though you still have some people that have that mentality. But when I came in 2004, which now I'm thinking about it, that was 20 years ago. So that was
Right.
the
Happy
mentality. And
20 years.
yeah, that was the mentality and that was the culture that, if a lead came in, they had to grab it before somebody else. They couldn't, co-list or share a listing. Like it just had to be theirs. And so
Wow.
the atmosphere that I walked into.
That was the atmosphere. And here's the power in all of this that I'm hearing that you have, Makeda, is that, you built this culture of collaboration with savvy chicks.
Mm-hmm.
And with inside of your community, that's what you do. You pretty much are very, very supportive.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome. So with savvy chicks, tell us a little bit more about, because you don't only do real estate,
Uh-huh.
right?
Right.
And then you have a unique spin on real estate that people are really not thinking about. So share that with us.
Yeah, so I have a love for real estate, but I also grew bored, with real estate. And when I mean let me go back. So when I
Right.
launched Chicks in Real Estate, I launched a membership program. And so the membership program was that, what the ladies can come in, they can pay $20 a month, $47 per month to be a part of this marketing program, branding that I had to help them to excel in their real estate business at a nominal fee, but in a group setting. And so with having that particular business, it led and grew the Savvy Chicks in Real Estate community to where I then started hosting my own conference called Licensed and Unbothered every single year.
Uh,
And the reason why it was called Licensed and Unbothered is because we are licensed agents, but we are unbothered by competition. And so that is
right.
not something that stands in our way. And so it's something that I put on a t-shirt. It's something that other agents they were able to relate to. That's the word I'm looking for. They were able to relate
Right.
to. But not only them, my lawyer friends who were licensed related to it. My
Right.
doctor friends who were licensed, they related to it. My accountant friends are licensed, they related to it. And so everybody was like, yeah, I'm licensed and I'm bothered, from
Right.
medical to real estate. And so I was like, okay, I like that. So, it was something that I actually got trademarked because it resonated with so many people. And so not only did I start consulting, I had a group coaching program, but now God has 10 years late. Was it 10 years? 7 years later. I'm like, okay, when? So 7 years later, here I am in international territory. Right now it's 2024. We're in March. It's Women's History Month. And what a perfect time, Shauna, for us to have this interview during Women's History Month.
Right. So yeah, and that's exciting. And I love that licensing and unbothered. That is absolutely brilliant. So I'm glad that God gave you that vision. But here's the thing that's very, very notable with you, I
Mm-hmm.
believe. You started selling real estate here in the US contingent, and then now you sell internationally.
Yes.
So, how did you manage to do that? What gave you the genesis? You cracked the code on building a culture of collaboration with other women who look like you, who were licensed and who were wanting to work together with building their empires and expanding their territories. And then you did this major territory expansion into other countries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Share details.
Yeah, so if you would have asked me a year ago, would I have seen myself in this position? The answer is no. And so what happened is October 2022, I ended up going to a speaking engagement to be my first international speaking engagement in Dubai. A friend was hosting.
Congratulations.
Thank you. She was hosting a conference, and my husband and I, we actually both went and spoke on a couples panel for the conference. And I also did a solo teaching on the Proverbs woman as it related to business. And so during that actual trip, we started with the conference for a few days, but the second half was us getting out in Dubai and exploring. One of those explorations was us going out to the desert. And so when I stood flat-footed in the desert with my husband, with these other people who never touched foot on Dubai soil before, I looked for miles around, seeing nothing but sand. And I took in that moment as a place that I had never, ever been before in my life. And so I took my shoes off, realized in the moment, and I asked God to enlarge my territory and just praying that prayer of Jabez. And little did I know that within 1 year and really within 4 months, God would have me in international territory leading what I call it exploration with other people and mostly women, going on these retreats. And the first one that we did was in April of last year, and it was to Bali. By the time I looked up, we had our conference with about 75 people in Dominican Republic. By the time I looked up in September, we were leading another 18 to Egypt and Dubai. So 2 countries in 10 days. And then at the end of the year, we actually closed out what I feel like was the most spiritual trip that we had, was going to Ghana, back to Africa. When I say back, I mean my ancestors had been there, but I hadn't been before.
Right.
But going back to Africa, but landing in Ghana, and it was just a whole spiritual experience for about 20 of us that went in December of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, Shauna, one of the unique things that I have with the retreat is for us to go and visit real estate opportunities and see what business opportunities also lie with these countries, and not just real estate, but what does oil refinery look like? What does agriculture look like? And so what are some of the other things that people can get their hands on in addition to them purchasing real estate for short-term investments?
Right. Love it. Love it. So miles and miles of sand is what you saw and what I'm hearing when you were in Dubai, the first international trip, and you had your foot in the sand, excuse me, and God gave you a revelation. So now, the way I see you and how you show up with all of your branding, which is absolutely gorgeous, I must say. Very spiritual. You have managed to marry spirituality and ministry in your business.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit how you managed to do that. You and your husband, because y'all are a powerful couple.
Thank you. And so I would tell you this right off the bat before I begin with the other part of the question. My husband, he does not want, like, he's an introvert. So he always said I'm an extrovert. I said, yeah, but then I need to, go back and have some time to myself to recoup. But he is an introvert, so he would rather be like behind the scenes. But what I was also wanted to share with you as it relates to like marrying God within the business and putting him in the midst of, is that in 2019, when I had my first conference, we've always been taught. So it's like, I have to go back and reprogram myself from what we've been taught in the real estate industry. And what we had been taught since I got licensed in 2004 is to keep religion and to keep politics outside of your business.
We have just put a pin in it right there, because that is what we were told across the board. Keep it out. But go ahead. I just had to give you that amen right there.
Okay. So when you think about real estate, it's like we have these housing rules and discrimination and all of this stuff. And, all of people in multicultural, multiple religions. And so I never wanted to mix it based on what I was taught. And so the first year that we had our conference, 2019, that was my own event. But I still had my realtor hat on, saying, somebody asked, well, do you want to pray? I said, no, this is a real estate event. We're not going to pray. Like, we're church. And so, but what ended up happening, Shauna, church came out of us. Like, the word came out of us because it's in us.
Can't hold it back.
Yeah, it's not about the building. It was just in us. And so the room really needed the word that people were getting up, and it just spilled out, because I knew what kind of speakers I had. But, even myself, I was just saying, God said this, and I gave a scripture here, but people were like, amen. They were loving it, even though we were in a conference room in a hotel. And so from that very next year, 2019 to 2020, we had the pandemic. And so of course I opened up with prayer, because so many people had so many loved ones that were dying and going through. And I was like, okay, we're going to open up
Mm.
with prayer. And since 2020, we always open up with prayer. But it allowed for me to be who I am in God fully. And because people
Right.
accepted who I was. And so it actually allowed for me to walk in the totality of who I was in God, that I didn't have to hide any parts of me when it came to that.
Amen. Oh my gosh. I just felt that. And that is what I love about entrepreneurship. That is what I love about business. It allows you to be you. It allows you to allow the Holy Spirit to work your gifts. It allows you to be able to reach way across the bounds. Like, remember you said, I would have never, I would have never
Yeah.
thought I would have accomplished what I've accomplished or gone where I've gone, and because we were all taught differently. We were all taught to be in this box, keep it out. Your people don't want to hear about God. But I'm so glad that that happened, because I believe that because you were obedient in allowing that to happen, in spite of everyone saying no, keep it separate, segregate the two, um, that you're able to accomplish and reach the people that you needed to reach. So,
And those are the people that, when you fully walk in that, now you're going to start attracting similar people who need to hear a word, who wants to hear a word. That is that also that entrepreneur, but also their kingdom base. And so they're going to hear your language and know that you're talking directly to them.
absolutely. And they're still real estate agents, attorneys, doctors, speakers, coaches, still. And the spiritual side of it is very, 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 very potent. So now, one of the things that you share with us early is that your hubby is quiet and he's in the background, but he ain't in so much in the background. But tell us, how did you even get into real estate?
Yeah. So I got into real estate because of my husband, because he was the one who dropped the real estate buzz in my ear, because I wasn't thinking about being a real estate agent. But he was like, I think that you would make for, a great real estate agent, just based on, what he's seen that real estate agents do. And I guess, I don't know if he was thinking to himself, like, this girl talks a lot. Let her sell real estate. And so I ended up taking the test. I passed it. And I remember that day in the parking lot, just shouting with my paper in the hand, like, yes, God, I passed it. But, who knew that years later I would be international? But that was in 2004. My husband, because I was able to go out and get business from entities like Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, Bank of America, Chase, and sell real estate on their behalf, and I was selling their foreclosures, it was becoming overwhelming for me. And so my husband, he went and got his real estate license, and he joined me in real estate so that we both can sell real estate property. And it was actually my first time, Shauna, that him and I touched 6 figures each, each separately.
Woo!
Based on real estate. And so that was the first time that had happened, at least in our immediate family and in our family period, that we know about. And so he is in the background. He is a constant support of my vision that God has given me and what it is I'm doing. He tells me how smart I am, like, all the time. He says,
like, super sweet.
He always says, you're the smartest person I know. And I'm like, yeah, until you're mad at me. Like, until we're not talking or something. But yes, he's always paying me compliments and just letting me know that he is confident, in the decisions that I make as it relates to, business, because he knows that God is leading me.
Wow. And that is so powerful. And when you shared that, I just know that God is in the midst of it all, because he actually gave your husband the vision. And your husband shared it with you. And that in itself is very, very divine.
Yeah.
Because out of all the blue, he just come and say, be a real estate agent. That
Right.
was look. that
Yeah.
was ordained.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
That was
sometimes,
ordained.
Shauna, people have to say something to you in order for something the seed to be birthed. And so the seed was birthed because I didn't go right away to the real estate class. Like, it took me some time to go to the class, but for him to even say it and to drop that word in my spirit, it just made me think about it. So now when I'm seeing real estate, like, it's coming to me because the seed was dropped.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And now that has positioned you to be able to drop seeds at all of these women and savvy chicks,
Mm-hmm.
with basically saying, hey, you don't have to sell, just here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can sell worldwide. And I
Yeah.
see that as part of the territory expansion. And not only, and I just don't want people to think, okay, sell real estate, sell real estate. This is spiritual also, because I believe, because you're helping people get homes.
Mm-hmm.
And you shared an instance, whereas one of your speakers, one of the ladies in Savvy Chick, bought land internationally. And then I'd like to ask you to share that story, that success story.
So I think the person that I was talking about was Carla. So with Carla, she actually inherited land. And so she inherited land. We were talking about her legacy. And so with her legacy, she inherited land from her dad, who, you were gonna say something, Shauna?
No.
Oh, okay. So she actually inherited land, her dad, and she doesn't like for me to always tell this story. But
Don't say her name again. So we won't know what she is.
yeah, okay. What I love is that she had an inheritance that came from her father. And so with her receiving the inheritance, one of the things she told us at an event where she was a speaker at our international brunch last year, she said that I didn't wait until I passed on to pass on what was given to her. And
That's
so
right.
that part, right? That part.
Right.
So her two kids, they're still living, she's living, and she gave them a portion of the land for them to have as ownership for themselves so that they can do whatever it is that they want to do with that. Of course, they'll get more, later, but a part of her inheritance, she shared with them while she can yet see and coach them on how to manage the land, how to invest with the land.
Right. And cultivate and
Yeah.
just expand the territory. So yeah, and this is such important work. I mean, I just can't say enough how important and exciting this is. And of course, with what you do, you host events. So
Mhm.
tell us about some of the events that you've done and if you have any upcoming events.
Yeah, so my signature event is the one that we talked about that I launched in 2019, which is called License and Unbothered. And so that is my signature conference that I had every year. But when I started hosting retreats last year, I made that my last conference because I was so worn out. But hey, did I consult with God? No, I was just saying, oh, these conferences are too much work. I'm not doing it anymore. But we do have another event. We'll be in Greece actually in 3 weeks. So that'll be a small retreat where we're taking people to Greece, exploring real estate and culture there. However, we are also going to Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. And let me tell you why, Shauna. One of my multimillionaire mentors who also hosts retreats around the world, she was telling me, Makeda, you need to plant your foot in one of these countries to where you're building on top of what you have built so that you can leverage the relationships that you already have there in this country. And so even though I have that in multiple countries like Ghana and Dubai, the Dominican Republic is one where I'm a real estate agent. I also have other people who are real estate agents that are part of the Savvy Chicks brand. I also have people who are now incorporating their business over in the Dominican Republic. I have a relationship with an attorney, few attorneys over in the Dominican Republic. I also have relationships now with developers in the Dominican Republic, investors. And so the list goes on and on now. So we will be having and hosting our June retreat, which is going to be an investment retreat. And for me, Shauna, I was able to get sponsorship. And so that's one thing I did not have last year.
Awesome.
That bringing the developers, I said, okay, if you want to be a part of this particular retreat, you have to share the cost. Like you have to share cost. And so that's one of the things that God has brought me out of, always taking on the responsibility and resources of an actual event, and using maybe the sales. And, you know, for me, because I have a big heart, because I feel like it is ministry, and I'm learning to get out of this, because I know that you work with hosts, but it's that discount. Like, okay, Makeda, can I come? I really can't afford it. It's not in my budget. And I'm just trying to make it work. Okay, I'll give you 20. I'll give you 30% off. I give you this in order to make it work. But that really was eating me into the ground. And so you probably have some clients about that, because I know I'm not the only one. But it is the reason why I have raised my prices when it comes to the retreat. And even the June retreat coming up, just this past weekend in Atlanta, people told me, oh, that is too low, Makeda. You have moved beyond $2,600. Like anything that you touch and what you're doing with your events, it should be $5,000 or more. And they was like, period. Like that's it. Because I have gone from that level to where I was hosting in a $65 room back in 2019.
Right. That's ascension. That's definitely ascension. Right. So your next event is in the DR, you said, or?
DR, June 13th through the 17th.
Okay. All right. So if there's anyone here that wants to attend Makeda events, or if you hear this after that, we're going to make sure that you have all of her contact information. If you're interested in real estate or any of the sorts. So Makeda, if there is someone who is interested, go ahead and share and make a call out to your tribe and let them know that you're here.
Okay, so this is for Kingdom Entrepreneurs. And when I say Kingdom Entrepreneurs, it's not just for real estate agents, but I want you to think about the promise that God made Abraham when he said, Abraham, get from outside of your country, leave your father's house, take your stuff and go. And so the Bible talks about how by faith, Abraham went, not knowing where he's going. Well, you'll know the destination is Punta Cana, but it may start with Punta Cana, but there's a promise that God has made to you to say that you're going to own international properties. You're going to have businesses in international territories. So the call is for you, woman and man of God, that he has said to get outside of your country, because he has expansion in international territories for you. And you have a gift and you want to build wealth, because the wealth that we're creating, the wealth that we're generating is not just going to be for us and our descendants, but it's going to be for the world. It's going to be able to build organizations, to build churches, to build up villages, to build homes and schools and all of these different things that God would have us to do with the resources, and to of course be able to help and feed the homeless. And so what he talked about, that, you know, when you do it onto the least of them, you have done it onto me. This is what that is. And so if you want to meet us to learn how you can learn different business strategies on how to own a supply chain, how to have land for agriculture, how to have investment properties for short-term, long-term rental, meet us in Punta Cana.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So just correction, your next event is in Punta Cana, and then the next one is in the DR.
So that's the same thing. It's Punta Cana, Dominican Republic.
Okay. All right. Sorry. What am I talking about?
Yeah, Punta Cana is the island, the city, but the DR is the country.
Okay, gotcha. All right, perfect. Because that got me confused there for a second. But yeah, so that is absolutely amazing. I really appreciate you doing the work out here. And for one, you made a call, and I'm like, I just can't wait till I get to a place in my business where things slow down a little bit, and then I could go ahead and start real estate, because that's like another phase of me, you know, after I do all I have to do here, because there's no way I could just do real estate right now with what I'm doing. So awesome.
Well, refer all of your people to me.
I sure will. And everyone who is listening, make sure you reach out to Makeda. I will definitely point them your way. I'm so excited about all of your events. And we will make sure that you that everyone who's here, that they get connected to you. So with that being said, everyone, thank you so much for coming today, listening in, and hearing Makeda Smith of Savvy Chicks. We're so excited, and we will hear you out on the next episode. Talk to you soon.